and it's fantastic to meet all of you. Happy to talk a little bit today about anything regarding fertility, anything regarding fertility treatment in Portugal. Before I start to talk a little bit about Ovum, I'd like to also introduce myself. Leslie did that very briefly. So my name is Felicia. I am currently the CEO of the company, one of the founders. I came to the company and we came to the field as a patient myself. I got diagnosed with severe endometriosis quite a while back, and then my own infertility journey started, which I was not that happy with back then. So I decided to turn the tables and actually create the experience that I would like to have experienced as a patient myself. So that's a little bit my background. That's who I am. But we want to talk a little bit about Ovum, right? So Ovum is not, a traditional IVF clinic as you know them from around the world. Ovum Care is a hybrid fertility clinic, reproductive care provider. That means that we now combine the best of class when it comes to the fertility experts at the clinic itself, so really the physical aspect, together with cutting edge technology and research. Really focus on the best of two worlds to bring them together to then, in the end, have the best experience possible for our patients, for our clients out there. So everything that we do, everything that is at the core to us is really redesigned the fertility experience to make it about you. For us, it's all about making it A, personalized, but B, making it as individualized and personalized as humanly possible. So summarize differentiators, what makes Ovum Ovum? We focus and we enable a superior patient experience by technology, by really one-on-one support from our staff members, by the excellent team that we have in our clinics and the experience that we create around of that. We have industry-leading success rates, which are now going down to the technology, the research that we're able to deploy and offer to you, and then the financial accessibility. At the core of what we believe in at Ovum is making fertility care accessible to everyone. And that now comes with our decision to go into different locations across the globe, one of them being Portugal. That's going to be one of the main themes today in terms of what kind of care are we able to offer in Portugal while making financially accessible in that region. So actually, that's a perfect transition, talking a little bit about where we are at the moment. So we have our first clinic running in London, UK. So very central, close to Euston Station, and our second clinic here in Lisbon, Portugal. It's not quite Lisbon. We're actually based in Cascais, which is about 25 to 30 minutes outside of Lisbon. The Lisbon clinic, so in Portugal, I'm going to be highlighting that quite a bit. In the midst of a beautiful natural reserve, we're close to the beach. We are in a very vibrant environment of Cascais, of food, a good environment, and enjoying life. To add on that, we, however, do not just have our clinics in London, Portugal. We have a global network of partnerships. What does it mean? That we're able to care for patients no matter where you are in the world. We're happy to support you in terms of starting your journey or doing the full journey, if you prefer, in London or Lisbon, or of course, starting your journey in the comfort of your home with one of our partners close to your home, and then traveling to, for the main part, a collection, embryology and embryo transfer, if applicable, to one of our clinics. Renato, handing over to you to give an insight into the medical team.
Thank you, Felicia, so much for the brief introduction. So, taking your words into consideration, my name is Renato Silva Martins, and I'm the medical director for Ovum Care Portugal. And this is just a couple of people that are part of our team. Our team is very big and it's growing each day that we go. The other medical doctor that is our clinical director is Dr. Joaquim Nunes, which is a well-renowned physician in Portugal with many, many years of experience helping countless patients to achieve their reproductive goals. Also, we have our embryology team led by Dr. Christina Hickman and Dr. Ahmed Amer. And they are the genius that make magic work, and sometimes they should be brought more to light. So that's a way that we like to see ourselves. Everyone has a role, and generally we aim for just succeeding and just walking you through your journey the best way possible. with that being said, I think that I'm handing over again to Felicia so that she can explain a little bit more. Oh no, it's still me. Sorry.
Not yet.
Not yet. So, in terms of what do we offer? So, we cover a whole range of fertility treatments. So, we are aiming to just walk all the steps in terms of reproductive care that a person might need. So, with that being said, we cover the parts of fertility preservation with egg freezing, sperm freezing, and elective frozen, IVF and ICSI, and also the fertility treatments in terms of IUI with donor sperm, IVF, donor eggs, IVF, donor sperm, IVF, and also ROPA, which we are going to talk a little bit more later on this talk, and a whole range of all reproductive care and complementary services from pre-genetic screening, advanced embryology care, and so on and so forth. But we can explain a little bit more in detail what these treatments that we have further along this webinar. And now, yes, I will hand over to Felicia.
Thank you. Renato's going to be speaking quite a lot more. I'm just, I'm starting on the more generalistic part and talking with you about, ovum, the experience in Portugal, and of course also the financial accessibility. Maybe before we go into the aspects of why Portugal, the core of this webinar, I want to be talking about what ovum is providing to you, where's the benefit in working with ovum. So on the left-hand side, you see 3 pillars. One is industry-defining care. I think I talked about that very briefly in the beginning. We are very proud to be one of the most, or actually the most advanced fertility clinic in Europe when it comes to the equipment for the medical and the laboratory side of things, but also when it comes to the research and the technological component when it comes to AI. We don't just go by the equipment technology, that's all fantastic, but it needs to be handled by a world-leading team. So I'm very proud to be here with my colleagues of Renato, Joachim, and the wider medical team that we have here in Portugal and of course in London as well. So as Renato mentioned, the team is growing. Many of our team members are world-renowned, so very much accomplished, not just in Portugal and UK, but also growing on a global scale in terms of providing education to other fertility specialists around the globe, providing webinars as we are doing at the moment. It's really being in the teaching role, but also being in the researching role as we go down the line of advancing the industry. A fraction of the cost, this is probably one of the core aspects of the webinar today, which shows Portugal for the reason also being that we're able to deliver even higher quality of care with all the advancements that are coming from our internal technical team and research team. In Portugal, an environment which allows us to be decreasing the cost of fertility care because of lower operational costs, lower rent, lower salaries, lower overall costs that we are seeing here in Portugal compared to other countries like the UK. So on the right-hand side, you now see the status quo and the essence that's coming from that. So essentially accessing the most advanced fertility technology, which I just talked about. One thing that I would like to highlight, which is going hand in hand with the World Renowned team, is we really focus on guiding you every step of the way. We put quite a lot of focus on not feeling like a number, because that's what I felt back then. It's more about really having this personal touch, having the support, having the guidance that you need as you go through the journey, which is not always easy. And the last one, and now this is perfect transition then to the next part, is inviting you to a scenic and relaxing environment for your fertility treatment. We want to enable you to go to a state of mind which allows you to relax, escape the day-to-day environment and the stress that comes with it, to escape in a bubble, to really focus on your fertility journey and achieve the best results possible together with our care team. Why Portugal? So Portugal is centered in Europe, but also has a proximity to the American continent. So we are able to directly be connected to patients across the different regions. Now, Portugal has, as mentioned, the benefit of being a very calm environment and really bringing you in the mood of holiday, right? Just letting the stress at home, relaxing, focusing on you and recovering and your own health. That is now connected with, and that's now where ovum comes in. We are creating here a countrywide hub of excellence in healthcare, which is now really focusing in that sense on, yes, fertility, but also in the wider sense of reproductive care as a whole. So it goes from contraception to natural family planning to IVF and egg freezing to menopause. It encompasses all of that. Now, Portugal for us is the perfect environment because it is very progressive from a regulatory perspective, but also allowing us now to provide you that advanced fertility care that we are creating for our patients, for our clients, at a fraction of the cost. But I'm going to be diving into that in just a second. To give you a little bit of an insight on where we're located, so the map that you see here is a map of Cascais. On the left-hand side, you see the beautiful coastline with the one of the most well-known and most popular beaches in Portugal, the Guincho Beach. There's a lot of surfing, but there's also a lot of, just enjoying in the relaxing beach and waves. So the beach is 10-minute by walk from the clinic. The Sheraton, which is one of our partner hotels, a 5-star hotel, I'm going to be showing you that in a second as well, 5-minute by walk. The Oinia is also 5-minute walk, which is literally on the other side of the street from the clinic, and the clinic itself located on the opposite side actually of a golf course, and then on the other side of a horse stable. So we have all of the different benefits of enjoying life around here and really calming down around us. And on top of that, we are about, as mentioned, 25 minutes from the city center of Lisbon. So if we prefer to have a city stroll for Lisbon, of course, also the city of Cascais, that is the way to go. To be fair, I think, Renato, you're better equipped to be talking about the experience in Cascais than I am. As mentioned, I want to be touching on the topic of pricing because that is one of the more important aspects. So you see that compared to UK prices for IVF and egg freezing, the prices in Portugal are about 40% lower. It can be, so it varies a little bit between the different treatments. It can be going up to 60%, but we see on average that is about 40%, including already the cost for travel and accommodation. Even more so when you look into comparison between US prices and the prices that we offer in Portugal, we are about 70% reduced. Same here, it varies between 80% and 65% depending on the journey that you choose. So maybe going into the specifics here, those slides are now specified for IVF. So this is about the cost for an IVF procedure. You see now the Portugal prices on the right-hand side and the UK price on the left-hand side in Great British pounds. So in Great British pounds in Portugal, it's about 4,850, including already accommodation and flight expenses. And on the left-hand side, about 7,000 Great British pounds in UK, knowing that this is also right now at the moment rather on the lower end of cost when it comes to IVF. So here you already see the significant differences in pricing, highlighting here that this is not coming at the quality or not at the cost of the quality of care. Quite the opposite, given the way we position ourselves, given the focus that Ovum Care is putting on that, really is on the research technology side of things and really bringing the best fertility specialists out there to this beautiful place to rather offer an escape for patients and not do it in the stressful home. The difference for patients from the US is even higher. So when you look into the average cost for an IVF treatment in the US is around 15,000 Great British pounds, slightly less the calculation when it goes to dollars. That's also a little bit dependent on how you look on that and also the timing that you look into the currency exchanges. And in Portugal, here the same price of 4,850. So here you see a significant difference also here, including already accommodation and the expenses for flights. Flights here already being a little bit higher. As we talk about accommodation and flights, we have partnerships both with hotels and with airlines. So specifically with the airlines, we're talking about TAP Airline, that is the national Portuguese airline, which is well connected to the US, but also to the UK and wider Europe. I do believe they're also flying to Asia at this point. And then on the other side, we have connections with different hotels in our region. So the images that you see on the right-hand side are from the Sheraton Hotel, which is located 5 minutes is already quite an exaggeration. So directly next to us, where we have now reduced rates to be staying in this 5-star hotel if you come for your experience for fertility care in Portugal. By the way, as you see featured, wellness area, spa, massage, a pool, a little shop, so yeah, everything that you need. By the way, the food is fantastic. I can vouch for that. The second hotel to highlight, the Oinia, is directly on the opposite side of the street from the clinic. By the way, it's a very small street. with directly a golf course also attached. As mentioned, that's right next to us. Similar here, we have reduced rates. Just to give you an idea, for both hotels, the rates that we see here at the moment are about half of what the regular cost for both hotels would be. We know that coming to Portugal and paying upfront for fertility care can still be quite expensive, even though we are able or enabling a reduction in those fees. That's why we focus quite heavily also on financing solutions. So we have 3 different components here. One is the traditional IVF financing. We're working with our partner that's called Gaia. This is a UK and US based company which is offering success-based financing solutions where you pay something upfront and then you pay smaller installments over time. We also work together with HSBC, Can-Do, and Revolut to offer a personal loan. So essentially, you would apply for a loan to then pay that over a longer period of time. In this case, interest rates are involved. They are getting better. It's not as extreme at the moment as we now see also the world banks adjusting the interest rates, but there are some interest rates involved in that. And of course, you're working with Klarna and PayPal, so you have the buy now, pay later options as you check out for your treatment when it comes to the payment to also pay here over a longer period of time. Similarly, also here with interest rates involved. Something to highlight, we offer flexible pricing models in the sense of a no baby, no fee program. So if you do qualify for, let me start differently. If your success chances of achieving a live birth rate with an IVF treatment based on your personal diagnostic data, so this is personalized to you. If you reach a threshold of 65%, we will offer you a package of cycles where if you do not achieve pregnancy within those number of cycles, you get reimbursed 75% of the treatment cost. What we want to do is we want to be adjusting and aligning the interest between you as a patient and us as a clinic, because now we're striving for the same thing. So the calculation that you see here is also going to be something that is conducted with your reproductive clinician, with a fertility specialist, to understand for you specifically, based on your diagnostic, based on your background and your medical history, what are your specific chances to achieve a live birth rate. As mentioned, we put quite a lot of focus on transparency and expectation management, so we're all on the same side and really know what's coming toward us. So that's something that you will do with your physician. So just waiting for the calculator. What you will receive is this graph, as you see here, which gives you the chances across multiple cycles. All right, I think the last part before I hand over back to Renato, because I really want to hear Renato talking, is something that we offer to all of our patients is access to our Ovum Companion app. The reason of that being you have the complete management of your care in the palm of your hand. We're going to be managing the cycle for you. You will only get the notifications essentially as you need them to go. So from appointment booking to asking the medical team 24/7 any kind of questions, to having access to real life lab data as it's coming through, having to now the images of the eggs that have been collected, or even the embryos as they develop over the 5 days in the lab. Everything of that is connected in this app, so we have access to everything that you need. Renato, I talk now a lot. I'm handing over to you.
Oh, you could keep on going, because you talked about lots of nice things, but let's go on the journey, because I think that's what also people are a little bit intriguing and wanting to know how can they can make this possible. So how they can live in Texas, in the USA, and still manage to do their reproductive journey with us here in Portugal. And to talk about this, we need to talk how IVF works, more or less. And there are some steps that we cannot avoid in order for us to. So I'm not seeing anyone. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
We can still see you.
Sorry.
All good.
So as I was saying, so when you start your journey, there are some steps that in order for us to personalize your journey, so that we know what's the best treatment for you, what are the options, and how we can guide you through them, and how can we better advise you in order for you to achieve your goal, whatever your goal might be. And with that being said, there are several steps that I'm going to guide you through now. And Felicia, if you can just start the journey.
Mm-hmm.
There will be a first initial consultation, and this consultation can actually happen at the comfort of your home. So it's a medical consultation where everything from your medical history, background, records will be assessed within your fertility specialist. And upon that, and taking into consideration your background and whatever you have already done in terms of reproductive health, we can assess more or less which way we can guide you, and also if there are actually needed more diagnostic testings, and if there are more information that we need to collect in order for us to provide you a better personalized pathway. So on the next slide is actually that, which is the diagnostics. And as Felicia has already explained to you, we have global partnership with several entities that can actually provide us a certified and comprehensive assess of your fertility, not only in terms of your ovarian reserve throughout a number of tests, but also some blood analysis that are mandatory under our regulations that may be needed. And also, if you do have a partner, the semen analysis as well, so that we can actually then plan your journey and better advise you. And on the next slide is exactly that. So you first have an initial consultation, then some diagnostics are done. This can all be done at the comfort of your home. And then we'll have the step 3, which is planning. And during this planning stage, we are going to review your diagnostics so we can actually see what are the data that we can collect from you, and that way we can personalize your pathway. In that consultation, and that's going to be a more thorough consultation, the planning one, we can discuss every single step of the way, and we can also discuss with you the results from your diagnostics. And while doing that, we can plan your treatment. But doing the planning of the treatment is always a conjoined discussion, and it's a talk where multiple paths may be drawn, and we can show you what are the probabilities going this way or in the other direction. And when you have all that information gathered and you understand the information that has been given to you, then, as clear as it can be, you can make an informed decision and decide which path you want to go and which one you want to follow. Again, this consultation, this planning consultation, can still be done at the comfort of your home digitally, or if you prefer, and if you actually want to meet us at our office, it can be done in person. So the next slide is after you've done the planning, then you're actually going to be on a nursing consultation. Again, this nursing consultation can be done in several ways, either in person or digitally at the comfort of your home. And during this nursing consultation, this is very crucial to the whole process. The nurse is going to actually explain you thoroughly how you should do the medication for the stimulation. And she's also going to advise you and will lead you and will guide you step by step how to do that, what are the side effects, what you might experience, because there's nothing worse than just walking into the darkness without knowing anything, because you are afraid of everything. When everything that might happen is explained and told you that that's normal or that's something that can actually happen, then you will no longer feel too afraid of it. And I think that Felicia stopped sharing the. Sorry, yeah. And complementary to the nursing consultation, there's also another thing which Felicia already told us is about our innovative app. And in the app, you have all the information. And if still you do require further information, because sometimes we do understand that information can be a lot to handle in a single dose. If you have any question or any doubts, there's always someone ready to answer your questions. So you don't need to feel like you're not being heard, or you don't need to stress about it. So the next step is something that you cannot do at the comfort of your home yet. And it's something that it's going to deal with stimulation and monitoring. But still, here you have the option of either doing everything here in Portugal and you enjoy a very nice vacation while doing your stimulation and your monitoring, and you're already here, or you can actually use one of our global facilitators or partners where you can actually be checked, and this will include 2 to 3 visits, either to our partners in the US or in our London clinic or in our Portuguese clinic. And then afterwards, you will require the final exams to be done in Portugal so that we can actually tailor your journey a little bit better. After this, and in the 6th step, so the next, the 6th step, I'm going to take a little bit more of a time, so to explain, because here we have, as we said before with Leslie, there are people that are looking for IVF, and there are people that are only considering egg freezing. And so here is the main difference. So for those of you who are looking for IVF, what will happen is, after we've monitored and after we've seen that there's development in the follicles, which are part of your ovaries, where the eggs are actually developed, we then do the egg collection under normal general anesthesia. It's a fairly simple procedure that takes around 10 to 15 minutes maximum. But after that, you will be recovering in one of our recovery bays that we try to make it as more comfortable as possible, and you do not have to feel that you are in a hospital. So you actually feel that you are at your home, very comforted, with very nice views, relaxing and recovering from the anesthesia. Also, there's something that is quite innovative here at Ovum, which is that you have access, because you have the app, to immediate results. So you actually know how many eggs you have been collected, what's the quality of the sperm, and then you can almost feel like you are inside the lab with our embryologist, because the app just gives you that opportunity to feel like you can see what's happening to your embryos day by day. And everything going okay, on the 5th day, then the embryos are transferred to your uterus. So this is the classical pathway for those of you doing IVF. Those of you that are only interested in egg freezing, and here's another innovative and another big idea and another thing that it's unique with Ovum, it's our cryo storage. So you done the simulation, you come from the egg collection, the same thing, same process, but then your eggs are cryo storage. And actually, we have a robot called Tomorrow, and it's called Tomorrow because it's actually from tomorrow. So it's cutting edge technology. It's from the future coming to the present, because we are actually the only care provider in London to have this facility, and the first provider in Europe to have this feature that we are going to talk a little bit more in depth when we discuss technology ahead. And for those of you doing just the egg freezing, this is the journey for you. So now, talking about the technology, which I'm very keen on, at Ovum we have, as Felicia told you, we have 2 arms from the same body. Like, we have patient care, so we're treating people, but also we are doing that with cutting-edge technology, with technology that's mostly not available in the majority of clinics, so that we can offer the best treatment possible while taking care of you and making sure that you are taken care throughout the whole journey. One of these features is this egg intelligence AI feature, where based on artificial intelligence, we can actually see beyond what human eyes can actually see. So everyone knows that our human eyes have a limitation, so we can see as much as, but we can't see beyond that. And what artificial intelligence does is it enables and it highlights things that might not be perceptive to the clear eye. The other feature that we have, and that's been on the next slide. The other thing is going to the male factor, which is the computer-assisted semen analysis. And this is actually a very good example, and the video can actually show you that, because when we are trying to choose which sperm to fertilize that given egg, we have to take into consideration multiple factors. Not only the number of sperm, their motility, and their morphology. And what this computerized does to us is it analyzes the whole bunch, and it tells us these ones are the best ones. Choose these ones because these ones you'll get better results. So on the next slide, also using artificial intelligence, we are able to do one of our techniques, which is ICSI, allied with this process of machine learning, so that we can actually harvest the best results and the best outcome for you. And on the next slide, we can actually see that at Ovum, what we use is these time-lapse imaging incubators, where you have something that it's unique in the sense that you know that embryos, when they are starting to develop, they are very fragile. And every time that you use an incubator, a classic incubator, you need to take them out of their perfect conditions so that the embryologists can assess them and see how they are developing. And then they are put back to that perfect condition. With time-lapse, we don't need to do that. So the embryos remain on their perfect, ideal conditions for them to develop, and there's a camera focusing on each one of them, and we can see without manipulating them, so without taking them away from their optimal conditions. Also, at Ovum, we have an artificial intelligence-based program that goes beyond our human eyes, and because it's assessing the development of the embryos 24/7, it can actually see all of these changes, these morphocinetic changes. So the embryo grows from one stage to the other, and it has a timing, and it has a way to do so. And because we are taking pictures of it and we are monitoring it 24/7, this computer intelligence can actually say to us, and can assist not only the embryologists but also the clinicians, which embryos are developing better. Therefore, what it says is that which embryos are more prone to produce a pregnancy. Therefore, reducing your time to conceive. So the time that you actually take from starting a process and actually having a healthy baby at home at your lab. And the next slide, please. And now we are talking about the machine that comes from the future, like Schwarzenegger, and it's the Robocop of Ovum, which is the tomorrow machine. So generally, what do you do when we have your eggs to freeze, or you have your sperm to freeze, or, for instance, you have more embryos than what you need for that treatment, and we need to freeze the remaining embryos so that we can actually have a second, a third, a fourth kid, we used to have this old school sort of tins where all of the embryos goes in handwritten label, and they are stored. The conditions are not optimal because they are very human dependent, and you have to put the liquid there, and then you have to monitor. If it goes too low, you have to put more. So it's a little bit limited. And also from the patient perspective, they are aware that they have X number of embryos, of cells, of oocytes or sperm frozen, but it's an information that it's given once. So we tell them, oh, we have 3 embryos frozen. That's it. That's the information they get. With tomorrow, what we have is, first, a digital labeling using radiofrequency ID technology. Only the embryologist can actually access the machine. So no one can just go in there and try to pop it out because it won't open. It will not be available to anyone. Second, your material is stored in a separate case, like a separate apartment in a very big building, but it doesn't share the space with other person's material, genetic material. It's fully automated, and it can actually access, so you can have data about the quality and how your embryos are throughout the app, using the app, and over the monitoring that it does, it's 24/7. So it's all the time seeing that the conditions are perfect and that the material is stable. So with that, we can see this. This is Dr. Christina Hickman with the Tomorrow robot in the clinic in London, actually using it. And as you can see, that's the material. It's going to go inside that apartment, that it's that person's apartment. And then it goes in the robot and stays in the robot until you actually need it. And that was okay. It was perfect timing. So we actually have a couple of frequent asked questions that probably will pop up as well in the chat box. But for instance, how long, and just to summarize, how long do you need to stay for your IVF treatment in Portugal? And here it will depend, obviously, on the way that you respond. And we have 2 different stages. One, you want to do the whole treatment in Portugal: stimulation, egg retrieval, and embryo transfer. And that will take around 2 to 3 weeks. That's going to be a very good vacation, especially if you come in the summer. The other one is, okay, but I can't spare that much time. No problem. We are a hybrid clinic. We have partners all over the place. You do the stimulation in your place, at your home, or nearby where you live. And then you generally come to Portugal 1 to 2 days before the egg retrieval. So the last monitoring is done in Portugal. Then you do the egg retrieval. And then 5 days later, you will do the embryo transfer, and then you can travel back home. So it will take around 1 week. The second question is, well, and what about how much time do I need to spend in Portugal for egg freezing, which is completely different? And here, again, the same thing. Every individual is one individual. We can't tell for sure the amount of days that will take to simulate, but taking into consideration mean times, if you want to do the whole process in Portugal, come to stimulation and have all your monitorings and egg retrieval in Portugal, it will take around 2 weeks. But if you only want to come for the egg retrieval, you can do the monitoring and the stimulation at your home, and then you just need to come to Portugal for around 3 days. So have the last monitoring, the trigger, and the egg retrieval, and then you can fly back home on the following day. And again, I'm
I'm sorry, Nato. My Wi-Fi is breaking in between a bit. I just wanted to also mention one more thing. Given that we have our clinics in London and in Portugal, for our patients which are on the call, which are from the UK or from London specifically, you can also start your journey in UK and London and then finish your journey in Portugal, the reduced prices that I talked about at the beginning, they're all still applicable, because the most expensive part around, IVF and egg freezing is actually what happens in the lab. So the cost benefits will be applicable if you start your journey wherever you are, so the US and London or all over the world, and then come to Portugal just for the teeny tiny bit of egg retrieval, embryology, and the transfer. Sorry, Renato, let me try to share again.
No problem. We're almost finishing now.
I think now it's working again. Sorry. There we go.
Okay. Now, some legislation, which is the boring part. Well, is there a limit for fertility treatments in Portugal? Yes, there is a limit. So if you are a female, you can go any sort of fertility treatment until you are 49 and 364 days. So we're that specific, and there are no exceptions allowed. For the male, there's no legal limit, and this is just in order for us to make sure that we are in compliance with our country's legal and medical standards. If you come from abroad, do you need a visa to just do the fertility treatment? No, because the fertility treatment, even if you come here to do the whole fertility treatment, it won't be longer than 90 days. So you just apply for a short-term visa, and you are allowed to do the treatments in Portugal. Also, the other thing is that same-sex couples, can they access the fertility treatment in Portugal? Yes, obviously they can. And the treatments are, as we said before, IVF and ROPA, and they are treated in the same and legal, in terms of legal framework, as heterosexual couples. And the next question is, what is ROPA? Because I've been talking about ROPA, but what is this ROPA? ROPA actually means reception of oocytes from a partner. So if, for instance, if this is, so for instance, if I have a partner, you can stimulate one partner, collect the eggs from one partner, fertilize them with a donor sperm, and then the embryo that's generated then can go and implant on the uterus of the other partner. That's what means ROPA. So it's shared mother. It's the other term that we use. Can embryos be frozen in Portugal? For how long? Yes, they can, provided that you are aiming for an IVF treatment, so with the intention of getting pregnant. And they can be frozen for 3 years, and then we generally ask the couple if they want to keep them frozen for a little bit longer, and then they can be prolonged for another 3 years. So in total, it can be frozen for up to 6 years.
We wanted to share a little gift before you go, as mentioned. So we'd like to offer everyone on this call a free one-on-one financial consultation with Felicia to answer any question you may have on pricing, and a free one-on-one medical consultation with Renato, so you can start your journey at Ovum Care Portugal. This is a special offer and time-limited offer that we're offering you today. So feel free to take out your phone, scan the QR code, and you can book a meeting in 2 seconds with Renato. You can have an appointment tomorrow if you want, in the next day, in the next month. So feel free to book with us. Well, thank you, Felicia, and thank you, Renato, for being with us today. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much for everyone for joining us tonight from all over the world. Thank you for asking questions, and we look forward to seeing you again